Welcome everybody to the Broken Wing Racing League. This is round 6 at Le Mans. This is the GT3 Championship Series that's hosted on Sundays. Qualifying starts at 9:10 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to start a little bit later than that because the session did reset. Change in plans was called for. We're still going to have a night race. Still going to be a nail biter, but we are not going to have the rain for this one. On board, we're looking at Joshua Grosso, who has just about 3 minutes left in practice to show what he's got going on here. Just behind him is Noah Hopkinson in car number 14. Because it's a night race, there's some parts of the track that won't be as illuminated as other parts. That said, I might refer to the cars by their car number or the position. You can see the position on some of the cars there on the windshield of position 19, which is Noah Hopkinson. Position 18 of Joshua Grosso's on the right side in the back window. Or if you can't see their car number on the sides or in the front, then I'll be referring to that. That being said, I was looking for incidents on track. Let's take a look and see if this one is an incident. I think Cody's just gonna be parking it here. But Nicholas Deville, not on off. Ooh. That was a little bit of an incident. And Grant Michael, take a look at just a lot of speed. Actually, he carried that pretty well. This isn't Tokyo Drift, but he's right back on track. No harm, no foul. And Trey Mistak is parking it. Alright, so we got 1 minute left in qualifying. Or in practice. Free practice, I should say. Going to the board here. We have Trey Mistak in P1 with a 359.9. 357.9. I think I said that right the first time. But Christopher Daniel with a 358.5. And only a few drivers did 358s. Actually, it was just Elliott Burton, only one other driver. And then Peter Flander did a 359. And everyone else is doing 4-minute times on their laps. All the way down to a 407. So we definitely are going to have a really tight midfield here. P5 through P9. Separated by a second. We have 27 drivers on the grid that are going to be starting in just a few moments here for qualifying. It's Christopher Daniel, who has the second best time on the board in practice. What can he... Oh, it is over. Qualifying starts. To round us out, this is round 6 for this season of the GT3 Championship here at Broken Wing Racing League. And we have Chris Lambeth, who is going to be the first driver out that is going to set a hot qualifying lap. Everyone's on an out lap. Qualifying has just started. Yo! And that is a drift or drifts. And he's going to park it and start over, more than likely there. We'll try to get back on track. I believe the driver behind him That pass. Whoa, that is a lot of traffic. It's Tyler Kern. And it's at the end there. Kyle Howe, Justin Scott, Peter Flanner, and Chris Stewart all bunched up in a... That's just not going to be very feasible. As you see, Trey Mistack and Elliot Burton are kind of neck and neck here. Only 3/10 separating the two, but they're going to have to give each other a little bit of space when the race starts. Or when the qualifying lap goes and everyone's still on an outlap. But that is a lot of drivers there in the backfield that are going to start together. You know, I'm almost kind of curious as to how that's going to play out for their qualifying times. They're all kind of slotted in now. Previously, it looked like they were trying to vie for position. It's 7 drivers, really not separated by much. And you can see Chris Chitterling's even going ahead of one of those drivers there in the backfield. Hold on. See what the blimps gives us a view of. And the track looks a lot better here at night. It was raining in the practice session, and that wasn't very visible, I should say, for some of the action to take place. But hey, I kind of wish they had done it. It would have been chaotic. And you know, what's racing without a couple broken wings here and there? Peter Flanner at the head of this bunched up pack that are all going to be qualifying very close together. I just curious to see how Chris Stewart's going to do this. Is he going to back off at all? And look at that. You can see the Porsche Rexy in the background there. So there's more drivers that are kind of just stacking up now. They're going to have to give each other some space here. As we go further up, Elliot Burton and Trey Mistack, they have given each other some space. They were at 0.2 next to each other, and now there's a 1.2 separate. So it gave him about a second here, roughly. And is he going to continue it? Yeah, he's even backing off further. And there he goes. He gives him another second out of that. And are we seeing that out of the drivers in the backfield? Peter Flanner has a 1.2 gap to Chris Stewart. Chris Stewart is not really letting off there. He is still going to stay within 1 second. But look at this. Justin Scott has backed off a full 2 seconds. And then we have Chris Chitterling, who's backed off a full 1.5 seconds. But look at that. Eddie Layton and Tyler Kern. Not much is separating these two drivers. I'm actually kind of curious to see how that's going to play out in the lap itself. Not well. I just... You really don't want to be following a guy that close. All right, folks. Back on board. With Trey Mistack. It's on its first flying lap here. Trey Mistack, Elliot Bird just behind by 2.2 seconds. It's a good enough gap. You weren't seeing that from the other drivers as much, but it looks like you can even see Peter Flanner and Chris Stewart have given each other a lot more space, as you hope some of the other drivers in the back as well. And with all drivers out there on the track, minus Andrew Korostecki, who is not out on track, we should be seeing some hot laps coming in pretty soon. And where is this? I'm going to go through the order here and find out where I was at. Chris Chitterling. Okay. So Chris Chitterling still has that 1.5 second gap behind with Eddie Layton, but Justin Scott, he's kind of caught up to. He's only a second back there. This group that kind of went into qualifying together haven't really strayed far from the pack here, as we have going ahead to Justin Scott, who's separated by 4/10 on Chris Stewart. Really just bunching him up. It's not ideal to be doing your hot lap when you have to worry about the guy behind you. And I'm not particular on the rules if passing on during qualifying matters in this league, but really more of a gentleman's agreement as well, as not try to pass someone when they're doing their hot lap just because you are faster, unless they've completely blown themselves off track. And look at that, Chris Stewart looks to have given that to Justin Scott. And Trey Mistek is going to cross the line, the first driver to set a time, and it is P1 so far, but is he going to be overtaken already? Elliot Burton just behind did a 357.6. Trey Mistek did a 359. Peter Flanner did a 359. Chris Chitterling across the line with a 4-minute time. Gets beaten out by Eddie Layton with a 4-minute time. Austin McGill's crossing the line to take P2 from Trey Mistek. Peter Flanner in 4th now. Eddie Layton in 5th. Chris Chitterling in 6th, not 7th. Christopher Daniel crosses the line, and he takes P3, pushing this order down even further. Justin Scott in P8. Bryce Bomback in P9. Andrew Cody in P10. Kyler Kern. And we're going to jump to Chris Lambeth. Tyler Kern in P11, Chris Stewart in P12, Kyle Howe in 13. The drivers are the set of times so far, but Chris Lambeth here, he's fast. Where can he put this through? Is he through the Ford chicanes? I can't really tell. It's too close. But yes, he is. And he crosses the line with no time set. I'm not sure what happened there. It looked like he was going to do a 4-minute something. But Joshua Grosso crosses the line and he takes P8, pushing Justin Scott down a little bit. We have Charles Whedon. Where can he stack up? The predicted 4-minute something at the moment. He's got a couple more corners to go. Actually, no, he went across the line. He's probably on a first time lap then. I'm not sure. He hasn't set a time at all. Let's see where Jeff Hofhold is. Really upsetting if it was like, I don't think I could say his name right. Koffold? Kaffold. Maybe it's Kaffold. Well, he's looking through the Porsche curves. And then the Chevrolet curves or Cadillac curves. I forget what the other one is. A couple of curves, and then the Ford chicane. But he's on a steamer of a lap here, folks. Predicted, if he goes through this well, he's going to sit comfortably in the top 10. That was a timed lap. We're going to see it there. He is P10 across the board. That is a 402.6. anyone else close here? We have Simon Witten here, who has not set a time. He's looking to improve. With the predicted lap as it is, he could be in the top 10. As he barrels his way through Sector 2. And so far, out of the top 5, not much has changed. Austin McGill did go to P2, overtaking Christopher Daniel for that position. And Trey Mistak, as I said that, Trey Mistak crosses the line to go faster with a 357.6. Separated by Elliott Burton by just... Oh. And there is Simon Witten into the wall, ruining a very good predicted lap that he could have had. Austin McGill parks it. Christopher Daniel looking to improve. Oh, it's completely track limits there on the exit. But maybe it doesn't matter so much on that one. But he is also done. We have 3 minutes remaining. So we have over 12, 13, 14 drivers that have not set a time on the board just yet. Not sure if they're planning to. A lot of them are in the pit lane. Noah Hoskinson is not one of them. He is out there on track as he crosses the line. Where's this going to put him? He predictably did a 4-minute something. 3:59.2 puts him at P6 for Noah Hoskinson. And here's Dylan Maroney. Across the line, he's going to be in P19, which is still fairly bit ahead of a lot of the drivers that have not set a time. As they will get stacked up as Steve McAllister crosses the line to take P20. And I believe that is it. Qualifying has ended. The results are as follow. Ellie Burton in P1, Trey Mistek P2, Austin McGill in P3, Christopher Daniel in P4, Peter Flanner in P5, Noah Hoskinson in P6, Eddie Layton in P7, Justin Scott in P8, Chris Chitterling in 9, Joshua Grosso in 10, Jeff Koffold in 11, Bryce Bombeck in 12, Andrew Cody in 13, Tyler Kern in 14, Chris Stewart in 15, Grant Michael in 16, Charles Whedon in 17, Kyle Howe in 18, Dylan Maroney in 19, Steve McAllister in 20, Simon Witten in 21, Eric Mack in 22, Zachary Nunnery in 23, Chris Lambeth in 24, Andrew Korstecki in 25, Eric Koonsman in 26, and Nicholas DeVille in 27. We got through it. 27 drivers on the grid. This is round 6 at Le Mans, the GT3 Championship here at Broken Ring Racing League. We are close to a go shortly. Early predictions, if anyone's has any. Where's the Porsche? We're actually gonna stack up against two Mercedes on the first and second row, and a Ferrari on that first row. Great misstack in that lovely livery of a Ferrari. due to the nature of the start straight finish, we're going to see a couple of drivers probably have some fender benders through the 4 chicanes. You hope everyone's going to be respectful, but just based on that, like back of the grid, it will not get a good clean start just straight away. We'll probably have to kind of battle it out through some of those chicanes. Hopefully cleanly. One can hope. And at least it is not a full lap, formation lap to get us through this, because Le Mans is long. And safety car is off, and we're about to go green. And it is green. As Elliott Burton leads into turn 1. Christopher Daniel looks to go side by side and overtake car number 4. Sorry, that was Peter Flannery looking to overtake Christopher Daniel, but that did not happen. Peter Flannery still looking to try to make a move. Has not. Oh, that's unfortunate for him, too. He's down. His position's 5, but he's down 1 already. Oh, and there's the Porsche Rexy off to the side there. What happened there? Take a brief look at that. He was P3 and just loosed it there. Unfortunate. He'll try to get that back out on... yikes. Zachary Nunnery also had an incident. Ooh, just loses the rear. Nicholas DeVille was in P27 at the time and goes really deep and into the barrier, as the Porsche actually still has not made a move yet. But look at that, and ooh, that actually clipped a driver. Oh my. And that was not I'm not even sure who that was. Oh, and there's Eric Koonsman going deep. And back live. Couple of crashes occurred there. Everything's pretty smooth there, but we have Bryce Baum back in P20, in P12, was P12, car number 29. And that's a spin. Elliott Burton still leads P1 here, and Trey Misek P2. Christopher Daniel in P3 after the Porsche Rexy spun. Noah Hodgkinson in P4. Tristan Scott back 2.7 seconds to P4 in P5. And he's got Peter Flanner right there. Is he going to make the move? And it looks like he has the move down. He's on the inside line, and he's going to go by and make that move on Justin Scott. This is car number 69 of the Liquid Moly. And is that Joshua Grosso trying to make a move as well? Car number 23 in the Porsche. So we go on board. That is 3 positions up for Joshua Grosso, who's in P7. Justin Scott up 2 positions. So even if he loses one, it's still great result off the first couple laps here. Or I guess the first lap, technically. We haven't even gotten to the second lap for some of these drivers. Ooh. We got Tyler Kern, who's only 2/10 back from Chris Stewart. Yeah, Grant Michael, who's side by side with Dylan Maroney. Now he actually lets 2 drivers by. Actually, I'm not sure what to make of that. Grant Michael, who, and there's slowdown penalties, folks. Slowdown penalties for the final chicane. That's what that is. A lot of drivers went through those. Grant Michael's still up 1 position, but had to give it up to Dylan Maroney. And then we had another driver of, I think, Charles Whedon here, who also had a slowdown penalty because he backed off quite a bit. It was further up. Maybe we'll see a change out of the order there. Here's Chris Stewart. Who's up 4 positions in P11. And Andrew Cody might try to fight back for position. He was ahead. And now they're side by side. And at the moment, it looks like Andrew Cody keeps the position, Chris Stewart, and he does. There's Tyler Kern looking to take the scraps of this battle here. He's going to opt for maybe making a move later on. It's 2/10 down from the Andrew Cody. Chris Stewart was past him once. I'm sure he can get past him again. Let's see if this is the move he goes for. Is he going to go defensive? It's a fast right-hander into that slow corner. Nothing yet. But we have Jeff Koffel, who is battling out with Eddie Layton. And this is a switch up because Eddie Layton is now ahead of Jeff. I think the move is over. Eddie Layton is going to be able to keep the position and stay ahead. Let's see if that's another story for Andrew Cody and Chris Stewart here. And look at this. We have Dylan Maroney, Grant Michael, and Eric Mack all separated by not much. And Grant Michael in the middle here might be able to make a move happen on that Trident Racing team. I guess both drivers in the Trident Racing team are kind of under fire from just feeling the pressure from drivers that are right behind them. And there's 2 of them. Just 2 battles for these 2 drivers. But it looks like he's not backed off just yet. And even Eric Mack is kind of maintaining that half-second distance. But it is 2/10 separating these 2, Dylan Maroney and Grant Michael. And Grant Michael has only been up 1 position so far off the start of this race. Just behind him is Eric Mack, who's up 6 positions. And we're going to take a look at this moment here is Noah Hodgkinson. Oh, must have gotten a slowdown penalty because he is definitely going much slower. Peter Flanner overtakes him for position. And now he's got a really tough battle on his hands. Chris Chitterling, Justin Scott, Joshua Grosso all battling it out, and Noah Hodgkinson is in the lead of this little battle. And look at that. Chris Chitterling is right on the rear of Justin Scott there. Who was going to break first? Who's going to be brave? Noah has that inside line going into the chicane. Is he going to keep it? Yes, he does. He washes a little wide there. And now Joshua Grosso might get ahead, as he is side by side with Justin Scott. And Chris Chitterling looking to follow the draft of those drivers. He pulls out ahead of Justin Scott, so he has now gone to P6 with Noah Hodgkinson in P5. These two were once teammates, and I'm not sure if they're still teammates anymore, but look at them, side by side still. They trust each other enough, and there goes Joshua Grosso. Through goes Joshua Grosso, and now Noah Hodgkinson is going to have to defend against Chris Chitterling and Justin Scott, who are side by side still. And close to wall banging from those two. And Chris Chitterling gets ahead, but he still has to worry. There's Noah Hodgkinson there, who's still able to be defensive, but I don't know if it's a good entry and exit on that. So it looks like Chris Chitterling's going to still be able to get side by side with him. If we click on to Justin Scott here, we can probably get a good onboard view. And there he goes. He's going to have the run into the next corner if he stays side by side. And Noah's just kind of pinched here. What can he do? He's got Joshua Grosso ahead of him. And ooh, what a good move. Noah getting the defensive line into the next corner. Not optimal for the right-hander, but optimal for the left-hander for him as well. So great moves out of Noah Hodgkinson there, who stays ahead of Chris Chitterling. And you know, at some point, Chris Chitterling's going to try to make another move here. He's only separated by 1/10. Is this the moment they go side by side into the Porsche curves? And look at that. Noah's a little bit braver there because he's got the traction and the optimal line there, and he sticks it ahead. But look at that. Chris Chitterling may try to have a go at him. Side by side again. Into the Ford chicanes. Can Chris Chitterling late on the brakes into the chicane? There he goes. Noah has to concede at that moment. There's nothing more you can do. His car was there, and he's there, and there goes Chris Chitterling into P6 after a phenomenal battle out of these drivers with a little bit of clean air, not much. I think he might try to just pull away ever so slightly, and maybe not. It looks like Noah Hodgkinson was able to keep it together in the first couple corners, and he's still only held back by 3/10. He could definitely claw that back onto the straight. And I say that, but I think it's going to be Justin Scott who reels in Noah Hodgkinson. And jumping to an incident that happened on track real quick, we have Eric Koonsman. Ooh, Steve McAllister has an incident. And Eric Koonsman's just collected in that incident. That's what happened. Oh, there he goes. And then bang. Ding. Ow. That's not great. There's a wing missing. And there's Chef Cockhold just doing a little Tokyo drift. But too much drift into the wall. He goes. Nicholas DeVille with a little bit of an incident. Maybe it's just an off track or yeah, it's just an off track. Nothing too, just a little deep on the speed there into that corner. Austin McGill, who was sitting in P22, Porsche Rexy, is just parking it. That's a lot different than anything else. Trey Mistak, Elliot Burton, and Christopher Daniel are separated by 1-2 tenths here. And this is the first time since the start of this race that these drivers have actually been this close to each other since the start. Trey Mistak has 2 tenths, and he goes for the almost, it looks like a lunge there, but doesn't get it done. If you look at the relative, it says 0.0, but it's really 0.1, 1/10 really. Really just how is he going to get a good exit, and can he get past him? A little bit of juice there from the draft, but no, he's just going to stay slotted in. But is Christopher Daniel going to make a move? Let's go on the roll bar and see if he has a good view of what's happening here. Mind you, if these two keep battling it out and Elliot Burton has to get defensive, then that welcomes Christopher Daniel. The door swings wide open for his opportunities to attack Trey Mistak for P2. And you can see it opening up just a little. Christopher Daniels now 4 tenths back from Trey Mistak. Except Trey Mistak is doing relatively fine here. He's only lost 2 tenths, but now he's gaining it kind of back through the 4 chicanes. As we go to the start straight finish. Really not losing a lot of time. Christopher Daniel clawed it back in the chicanes because he's now 3 tenths back from Trey Mistak. Ooh, and there's Steve McAllister parked on the exit there. Looks a little suspicious. And is something going to happen between these drivers? Andrew Cody, who's just dropping the time charts. And I'll have to take a look at that shortly. Trey Mistak is only 1/10 difference here. Is this finally the time that he's going to make a move? Looks like Elliot Burton is going to the inside a little bit to be defensive, but is he going to try to swing out back wide for the corner? Yes, he does. Now on board with Trey Mistak. He's got Christopher Daniel about closer than he has been before. Elliot Burton ahead by 4 tenths and not like 1 or 2 tenths, which is he's had previously on the last lap. Is there a change in the order of the top 3 drivers? It looks like the gambit is on. Who's going to make the move first? Is it going to be Trey Mistak or is it going to be Christopher Daniel? Elliot Burton can't pull away at the moment from these 2 drivers. He is just stuck with them. And then further back, we have Chris Schitterling and Noah Hodgson battling side by side for P6. It looks like Chris Schitterling is ahead and will take P6. If Noah slots in right here, and there he goes, he does. And it looks like Noah have some type of penalty. It's going kind of awfully slow. That's relatively slow. Yeah, he's backed off. There goes Eddie Layton through. And Justin Scott goes through. Down positions for Noah Hodgkinson. Several positions. Back to P1, 2, and 3. Is something going to happen here? Through the Porsche curves they go, and into the Chevrolet curves. I forget the second one. I think it might be Cadillac curves. Let me know in the comments. I completely forget those two. But into the Ford chicanes. No swap yet, even though these drivers are closer than any other drivers on the grid, and yet no passing has happened. But we'll go on to Andrew Cody, who had a little bit of an incident here. He was P16. And what kind of incident is that? It looks like he's just going in the pit lane. I don't see a incident. Nicholas DeVille, though, in P24 has a little bit of a spin there. And then Nicholas DeVille again. Oof. Another spin. And Christopher Daniel, who's sitting P3. He's farther back from... What? Oh. Must have had a slowdown penalty because he backed off 4 seconds. That's unfortunate for him. They were all really close together. And Chris Stewart also going to pit lane. I don't know why that's saying that's an incident. Joshua Grosso and Chris Chitterling are battling out for P5 at the moment. Joshua Grosso has the inside line, but it looks like, ooh, he's going to get shown a little bit of a door there, but they go side by side anyway. And on exit, Joshua Grosso still keeps it side by side, ahead slightly. Is he going to be able to do the same for the next corner here? Who knows? And just behind them, we have another group of drivers battling it out. Chris Chitterling, Justin Scott, and Eddie Layton. As we are over halfway through this race, there goes Chris Chitterling. They are still side by side. He's got a good run on the exit, though. Is this a switchback? Can Joshua Grosso get something here on the exit? There he goes. Look at Chris Chitterling. He's really defensive. Look at that line. Joshua Grosso pops out. I don't know if he's going to be able to get fully alongside him into this next corner. And so far, it looks like Chris Chitterling's going to be able to hold this together. And as the background, I think that's Steve McAllister. Just missed the corner. Let's take a look at his on board. Is he have the movements to make a move? Look at him. He's got a lot of speed here. Is this the moment? It's not going to go side by side. And they keep it together. But no change out of the order of those two drivers. And we have Eric Mack passing Steve McAllister. He's got Chris Lambeth ahead of him. Eric Mack is up 11 positions into P10 at the moment, with Chris Lambeth just ahead. And Tyler Kern, who's in P6. P16 at the moment. Looks like he was P15. Eric Mack is really close to Chris Lambeth. I'm wondering if this driver can make a move on Chris Lambeth anytime soon. It looks like he's closer than any other driver on the grid. So are a couple other drivers, and it's hard to discern who to take a look at as they both go into the pit lane. Joshua Grosso, all the drivers have been going in the pit lane. Even P1, Elliott Burton. Who's going to pop out first? Is it going to be Elliott Burton or Trey Mistack? We have Christopher Daniel in P3. And Peter Flanner in P4. And it looks like Elliott Burton's out first. Trey Mistack second. No change out of the order there. In Christopher Daniel in third. Peter Flanner in fourth. Noah Hodgkinson is still waiting to go out. Joshua Grosso gets out though. He's going to stay P5. Chris Schitterling in sixth. So a change up in the pit stop. Joshua Grosso, who lost a position to Chris Schitterling and were battling out, you can see the difference there. They're now separated by 1.5 seconds. That goes to a great pit stop for Joshua Grosso, making it going into the pits after him and leaving before him. He's probably going to be struggling on the fuel a little bit there. And Eddie Layton in 7, Justin Scott in 8, Noah Hodgkinson in 9. Not much change for this driver since the start of this race. He's down 3 positions, but great pit stop from him, and he is P9 still. He holds it together. Eric Mack, he went into the pit stop to do a pit stop, and the mandatory one, and he's up another position off of Chris Lambeth, who's just behind him. So the trigger for the pit stops, everyone going in at the same time, somehow he still is ahead, or he gets ahead by a margin of 1.3 seconds to Chris Lambeth. That might just be all the fuel scenario there. As Andrew Cody is P12, but he's got Chris Stewart, who's already gone into the pits. So his tires are ready to go. Is he going to be able to pass Andrew Cody? He's only up half a second on him right now. And this is the battle for P12. And I'm going to pull over to Justin Scott and Eddie Layton. This looks like they're a little bit closer to Tyler Kern. Tyler Kern is in the car behind that we're looking at, and ahead of him is Grant Michael. Is he going to make a move and pass Grant? There's nothing that separates these two drivers. They're both in Ferraris, so no advantages here. But the draft he has should have some effect. He's got to worry about his exit. If he nails his exit, he might be able to pass him. A little bit of just a bit of power there, but no, just nothing's changed from these two just yet. And just ahead, you can see another two drivers that are also separated by nothing. But not much has changed in that battle either. And into the fast right. Is anything going to happen here? Nothing. He's probably just waiting for a driver to make a mistake. And a driver did make a mistake. And here we go on board with it. It's Chris Schitterling, who is in P5. And just on there, he's going to lose a couple positions off of that. He's down into P8. And through goes Joshua Grosso was already ahead but he just extends his lead by 5 seconds, or 4.9 seconds, to Eddie Layton, who is now in P6, with Justin Scott in P7. I'm not sure what's happening there, folks, but Peter Flanner has inherited P3. Christopher Daniel, who was in P3, oh, maybe he got it speeding in the pits. He is parking it. Maybe it's just a quick one, but that is unfortunate. He's going to go down, plummeting down the order, and everyone in the top 10, in the top 7, are definitely going to win off of that one. Oh. And we still have a few laps left to go. I'm not sure what... Maybe we'll see here. He did have an incident. It calls him into the pits. He's back out on track in P13. Bryce Bomback has a crash. Just spins it right there. We're seeing a lot of spins happening at that corner. Nicholas DeVille. We've seen a couple of these in this corner as well. And he stops it in time. Andrew Cody, who was sitting P14. P12 in this. Ooh. So Chris Stewart gets ahead, and then he just spins it there. Charles Whedon in P20. At the time of this. Through the Porsche curves, it looks like. Ooh. And it's supposed to be a righty, not a lefty. But he's going to rejoin the track safely there. And he is in the pits for that one. Andrew Korstecki, who did not qualify, is up 10 positions. He's in P15 at the moment. And this is Andrew Cody, just ahead of him in the Mercedes. It's like, are going to go side by side, and it looks like Andrew Korstecki is through. Done deal. Has a good exit there. And Andrew Cody not making a fuss out of that and trying to defend. Through goes Korstecki. For P14, that's 11 positions now added to the chart there for that driver. As we look to see who has the best result so far, this is going to be Chris Lambeth, who's up 15 positions. But just ahead of him is Eric Mack, who's up 14 positions at the start of this race. Chris Schierling, after a spin, is down into P8, but he still can claw back a couple positions if he just goes on the attack. He's got 2 drivers ahead of him that is not much separates them. Just got to kind of reel it in. He's still got a couple more laps to do so. And Christopher Daniel, who was in P13, is more like a when it rains it pours scenario. Look at that, this little snap, and then he finally gets it parked. It's definitely gonna try to unravel himself from this. That is unfortunate. And just think at the start of this lap he was. Or, sorry, 2 laps ago he was P3, and now he's down. Struggling there. Into P19 he goes down to. Chris Lambeth and Noah Hodgkinson are battling out for position. Noah Hodgkinson is in P8. Chris Lambeth in P9. Difficult there. We don't get the indication, but we can kind of surmise. Chris Lambeth has a slowdown penalty. But the battle, I guess, doesn't really matter, as Noah Hodgkinson himself. Ooh. Just goes straight over. Oh, and then just parks it. Oh, no. So down goes Noah Hodgkinson. And now that battle awfully shaped differently. As Eddie Layton and Justin Scott don't have to worry too much about the driver behind them anymore. I'm not sure what happened to Chris Chitterling, but he's still holding in there. But he's not as close as he once was. Andrew Korostecki and Chris Stewart find themselves up several positions off of the hijinks in the top 10. Chris Stewart is P9. Andrew Korostecki is in P10. Not much of a difference there. Here's Chris Stewart and Chris Chitterling in P10 and 11. The battle of Chris's goes to Chitterling at the moment, with Christopher Daniel completely out of the picture, who it's unfortunate for him. And we've seen Chris Chitterling get scrappy throughout this race. He's passed people. He's had his elbows out for the defense. All fair. Very much respectable, going side by side in some of these corners. But look at Chris Stewart. A little bit of a difference in how they're approaching that corner. And where's he going to bring back the time? He just lost about 3/10 there. And in the background is Andrew Korostecki, followed by Dylan Maroney, Grant Michael. And two drivers that you can say are completely consistent, Eddie Layton and Justin Scott, just within 3/10 of each other, sometimes half a second. And that's Nicholas DeVille, the lap traffic, letting these two drivers by. But these drivers have really kept it together, really stayed bumper to bumper. Not fully bumper to bumper, not like separated by just a little bit, but really just the 2/10, 3/10, 4/10. They just keep going, an ebb and flow on how these two drivers are consistently next to each other. Their times are near identical on last lap, near identical on their best efforts, separated by 3/10 on their best laps. I mean, it just goes to show you, even if, I mean, just be consistent sometimes, because a lot of these drivers they go out from a spin. These two just keep getting promoted and promoted. They're both up several positions off the start of this race. And while Eddie Layton has a driver ahead of him who's 6.4 seconds, and Justin Scott behind him has a driver that's 6 seconds back from him. It just goes to show you these two drivers are quite a matchup, a pair, you might say, that are still consistently next to each other, even if the pack ahead goes ahead further, and even if the people behind can't catch up to them. Really, really impressive to see, even here at Le Mans, where it is difficult to really continually follow another driver lap after lap, and keep pace that is really that close together. We may not see a pass here, folks. We may just see Justin Scott sit in the rear of Eddie Layton, but you could definitely grant it that there is some respect between these two drivers, because Justin Scott hasn't just been dirty in any means by throwing a complete lunge down the inside anywhere. I don't even think he's actually had the opportunity to get that close enough, because they are just really right there, 4/10, and they just stay at 4/10. It only ever crunches down in the slow speed corners, but then it just accordions back the other way once they get to a straight. And while I say that, we have Trey Mistak in P2, who's a little bit closer than he's ever been in the last couple laps. He's 1/10 off of Elliott Burton. Can Trey Mistak make a move for P1? And so we go on board. Do the Porsche curves. I don't believe we're going to see any different change here at this part of the track, but I could be wrong. It looks like Elliott Burton has maintained a good, comfortable lead, consistent throughout the race. No mistakes, and that's all that matters here. Is he's got maybe 1 or 2 more laps to go before we see the checkered flag for him. Do the 4 chicanes. And the start straight finish, it is going to be 1 more lap before we get the white flag. It's Andrew Korostecki sitting in P11. And Dylan Maroney just ahead. Oh, and now we have Justin Scott, who's a little bit closer than ever. He's now separated 1/10, and it looked like maybe the move could be on shortly if he maintains that distance, but just kind of loses it on the exit there. He was 2/10 off, 3/10 off. Now he's down to 8/10, 7/10. That consistency that was in a 4/10 range has now gone a little bit higher. But he's reeling it back in. He's only 6/10 off. Now 5, half a second. Puts the power down. Had a good exit. Maybe he can reel him in on the straight. And he's coming back. Within a distance of this driver, but nothing's changed just yet. And there goes through Andrew Korostecki, who's going to have to do a slowdown on that. Had to move down, but definitely had to let the driver pass. But you thought a move was on, was not on. Because of track limits. And Simon Whitten, who's in P15. The number board we can see there. Really close to Kyle Howe ahead of him, and Tyler Kern, who's the driver fully ahead of those two. What can be done between these 3 drivers? As we have to switch over momentarily, we have Trey Mistak, who's a little bit closer than he's been previously. Is he going to be able to make a move against Elliott Burton before this race is over? We haven't seen a lot of overtakes on Sector 3 here. I think maybe not even any of them besides lap traffic coming by. So he is really close through the Porsche curves that go. But will he be able to make a move into Sector 1, Sector 2? Got a full lap to do it. As they're rounding the corners through the fourth chicane. He's got to think about this last lap. Can he attack? Can he make the move? Does he risk it, or does he just accept P2 as is and hopefully he beats him out in the championship points? I don't even know where they stand in the championship points, but Elliott Burton is leading the race, and that's maximum points for him. And they're separate 8/10 there. We'll take a look here. And this is, I believe, this is the white flag here. Whoa, and it looks like Simon Whitten in the background, or not Simon Whitten, Tyler Kern had a little bit of a dust up there. Before we look at that, it looks like Chris Lambeth had an incident. He was P19, oh, and just the rear there and into the wall. Bueno. No bueno. Into the pits he goes. Kyle Howe, who is P14, up 4 positions at the start of this race. Simon Whitten got through. And Andrew Korstecki is in the pit lane. Not sure what's happening there, but he's going down the order. So that's a good number of positions. That's a position for everybody there. Tyler Kern, Kyle Howe, Simon Whitten, Grant Michael, Dylan Maroney, Justin Scott. Might be, from the data, looks like he's closer than he's ever been to Eddie Layton. And, ooh, is this the move? Is it finally happening? Is Eddie Layton going to have to contend here into this corner? This is the last lap for these two drivers. They've been respectful all race. They go side by side, and they go again. Who's it going to be? Eddie Layton on the out. He gets ahead. Justin Scott tucks in, but is this over? Going on board with Justin Scott. It looks like maybe he's going to not make a move. Thinks about it. Goes for it. He's fully committed. Ooh. Oh, and it looks like Eddie Layton may have possibly gone off a little bit there, but I think he was able... Doesn't get a slowdown penalty from that, but he is not a great exit off of that entry. So this gives Justin Scott a little bit of room. Maybe he's going to make it happen. Not yet. And the car is positioned pretty well. And looking at Elliott Burton real quick to see if that was wrong on that data, but nope. Certainly right. Justin Scott. Still close. Thinking about where can he pick the battle. Not in this corner, I don't think. But maybe in a couple more. Loses a little bit of time. Those two corners. It's about 2/10. And they'll be going into the Porsche curve soon. This might be over for him. And Elliott Burton rounding it off here. Through the first chicane, through the second chicane. Elliott Burton is going to be taking the checkered flag. No. Maybe not. That it? No. I think they have to go one more go. That is a checkered flag. Elliot Burton through. Sorry. P1 for Elliot Burton, Trey Messick. P2. Peter Flanders is going to be crossing the line shortly. The battle's still on for P5. It looks like it might be it, though. And Peter Flanders takes P3, crossing the line. Joshua Grosso, a couple more chicane, or one chicane to go. And Justin Scott, Eddie Layton can't make it across the line to change the order there. So Joshua Grosso P4, Eddie Layton P5, Justin Scott is P6, Eric Mack P7 with the most positions gained at 15. Chris Chitterling is going to be crossing the line, take P8. Dylan Maroney, a couple more, or just a couple chicanes to go, and the 4 chicanes to go before he takes P9. Chris Stewart is going to be taking P10. Grant Michael and Simon Witten going battling it out, and that is Grant Michael through. In the final chicanes, he goes through and he takes P11 from Simon Witten, who goes to P12. Kyle Howen P13. Tyler Kern P14. Andrew Korstecki still out there. He has to wait for that one. But a little bit of a battle there in the mid-pack as Grant Michael overtakes Simon Witten for P11. Andrew Korstecki crosses the line to take P15. Christopher Daniel takes P16. An unfortunate end for the driver who was sitting in P3 at one point in the race. Bryce Bach crosses the line and he's taking P17. Andrew Cody is going to be taking P18. Eric Koonsman, he's a little bit ways out there, but he's going to be taking P19. Jeff Koffold, who's not here, or let's just stay on Eric Koonsman. Jeff Koffold, who's already gone in the pits, crossing the line though to take P20. Didn't cross the line. It looks like it just hasn't shown up, but he is in the pit lane already. He takes P20. Steve McAllister takes P21. Chris Lampett takes P22. Nicholas DeVille in P23. Noah Hoskinson, P24. Charles Whedon in P25. Austin McGill in P26. And Zachary Nunnery in P27. And Eric Koonsman, the last driver on the grid that is out there on... I'm sorry. The last driver that is out there on the grid who still hasn't crossed the line, though, but will definitely be crossing the line. It shows in P20, but he is going to inherit P19... because he's still out there completing this lap. And it will put Jeff Koffold just slightly behind him. I'm not even sure what the time on that would be. About a minute and a half difference between these two. But we stay. To let Eric Koonsman know we're watching. As the race has ended for most of the drivers, he is about to be there finishing his race. Through the 4 chicanes we go. And that is it. Eric Koonsman crosses the line to take P19 and inherits 1 position because he kept it out on track. This has been the season for GT3, the season ending, round 6 here at Le Mans for the GT3 Championship Series. I'm not sure who won this one, but take a look at the Discord, join the Discord. There's other league options as well as GT3. So definitely check us out, and we'll be back in a couple weeks for the next season of this Championship Series. And thank you all for watching, and have a good night.